Hi, I'm Kathleen.
And I'm Sean.
And you're listening to the Dead Baby Bear podcast.
Dead Baby Bear.
Ooh.
Long story.
Yeah, Ginger Kid.
Who was Ginger Kid?
One of my cousin's son's friends. Like that was the best part at the wedding.
Cousin's son's friends.
They were like all these 19-year-old boys showed up.
You couldn't possibly be like less related to that person. Like, that's the least related you could be to any human being. A cousin's son's friend.
Oh, I was
like,
not related to any of the friends.
You could easily fuck that guy if you wanted to. Without worrying about any inbreeding.
Well, there's no relation.
You wouldn't have to worry about any, like, not that there'd be anything wrong with your baby. It'd still be a great baby.
The best part was all of my friends that were like moms were like, who are these young boys? There was like, all the cougars all of a sudden were like, what is going on?
Yeah, they look at a 23-year-old and they're like, look at old Thrusty Rusty.
Yeah, these kids were 18.
I bet that guy can throw a
dick. They
were
were not 23. They were 18. And they like came over and they were being all nice and polite because of course they like they're drinking our booze, which is fine. We have so much booze. And then I look over and Adam's shotgunning beers with them and then they were like, you need to shotgun. I'm like, no, okay. But I had to have somebody hold it for me. So I didn't want to get out my dress. But then I saw, like, the next day, my cousin's son was like, oh, our friend, I just want to drop my dog. Our friend's was hurting in the middle of the day because he took one of the bottles of, what did we have, White Barefoot Zinfandel or something, and chugged the bottle of wine. Like, I saw the video. Like, I'm like, this guy is going to puke everywhere. Like, what is it with 18-year-old boys and chugging wine? Because my cousin that was there, John, he when he was 18 chugged a bottle of red wine and then threw up all over my house. Like, what is it with boys chugging wine?
And that's also like why nobody respects alcoholism as a disease.
Yeah,
because Mother Nature put a beautiful failsafe into our evolution by making us vomit.
Yes.
So whenever you're like, I'm an alcoholic, that means like at least 100 times you had a bunch of it, you vomited, and then you felt terrible the next day, and you were like, fuck it. Alexa,
shut up.
What was Alexa doing?
Playing Blue Rodeo.
Yeah, it's a fucking terrible soundtrack to a podcast.
But I love
sad
Blue,
enough as this podcast
do you like
is
Blue
sad
Rodeo?
enough.
You don't like Blue Rodeo?
No, I like Blue Rodeo.
Canada.
Oh, you know what's funny is I have a funny comedy-related Blue Rodeo story. What's the name of the lead singer?
What's his name? Jim Cuddy.
Jim Cuddy, that's who it is? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he was doing the Edmonton Comedy Festival.
Okay.
He was emceeing, and I was going up first, like, after him.
Why do they always get Canadian musicians to MC comedy shows? And, like, Jan Arden has hosted the Gemin, or whatever they're called. What's the Canadian version of the Grammys? Junos.
The Junos, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people watch the Junos. It's a highly rated show.
In Canada, more musicians have gotten a sitcom than comedians. They would rather have a kind of funny musician get a sitcom than a comedian. Okay, sorry, I interrupted your Blue Rodeo comedy story.
Oh yeah, so he was on stage. It was like a sold out theater, whatever, like 500 people. And I was just like getting ready to go on, like, oh yeah, sat here after old fucking Blue Rodeo, like whatever. I wasn't really thinking about it. And then he started to just murder. And I'm like, why wasn't I more scared of this? Like, this is a fucking
like he
legend.
Was hilarious?
Yeah, like told funny stories and sang his best songs.
See, he's the male
Jan
Arden.
Singing his best songs and doing jokes and murdering.
He's the male Jan Arden.
And then I gotta be like, hey everybody, keep it going for whatever, Jew Rodeo, or what's that about?
Did you say that?
I said Jew Rodeo.
No, you did not.
I did not say Jew Rodeo. That'd be horrible. The lead singer of Jew Rodeo. Where's your yarmulke, Bill?
Oh my god.
Anyways. After he sang all these like legendary songs and told bits about Anthony Henday or whatever.
That's the thing about musicians is they have really good stories. Like, comedians have road stories, but I think musicians have a little bit better road stories than comedians. And, like, if they're good at telling a story and they're good at singing songs, then, yeah, that's very difficult to follow.
Well, and nobody else gets that kind of stage time, right? So you're a musician, you're on stage all the time playing your music. You eventually stumble upon, like, it's too crazy to not talk.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, as a comedian, I always feel like it's crazy, it'd be like a musician that just doesn't acknowledge the crowd, just sings, like a comedian that doesn't acknowledge when a joke doesn't work.
Yeah.
where you just like do a joke, it doesn't really work, and then you just move on to the next thing. It's like, what are you doing?
Do musicians
You're just gonna
fuck
roll
up
into
and
the next
acknowledge
fucking
it?
thing? What?
Do musicians fuck up and acknowledge it? Or if
No,
they're
they talk
bombing?
like they'll, they talk in between songs and shit. You
Yeah,
know?
I guess so.
So you are married now.
I am married now.
You had a wedding.
I had a wedding. It was more like an aftergrad. It was so people were blackout drunk by like 2 p.m. Let's say 2 p.m.
That might have been the wettest grad I've ever been to.
It was not a
That
dry.
was a soaking wet grad.
So the ceremony started at 11, and we were actually literally right on time. We weren't late, and like it was done in 20 minutes, I think. And there was booze before it because we had a mimosa station.
I mean, the only difference between like doing it when we were 17 and doing it like in our 40s now is like now nobody's fucking by a tree.
Nobody's fucking by a tree, and nobody's puking in the yard because everybody. Because by the time you're our level adult, you're like, no, I know what level makes me puke, and I don't want to get there.
I puke in the bathroom and I fuck in a closet.
There was only one bathroom, and that was the thing I was scared about. I thought somebody was gonna fuck up that bathroom.
That's where you'd find puke.
Yeah.
Where somebody's urinating.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I gotta puke. And then, hey, this door's locked. Vomit on the door.
Yeah.
Every
Thank God
time.
that
Who's
didn't
not
happen.
vomiting on the door in that scenario?
I did have a nightmare because it was at my aunt's house, and she's in her, I don't know, her 70s now, but beautiful, beautiful backyard.
May she soon rest.
Jesus Christ, Sean.
Isn't that what you say about people you want to die?
I don't want my aunt to die.
Okay. Aunt. I thought you were talking about like great grandma who's rich or something.
I don't know. I don't think.
See, I don't listen to you on this podcast. That's the problem. I thought you were talking about somebody who's already super old. You love your aunt, of course.
I was stressed out about like something bad happening or something got burnt. But I think the worst thing that in my aunt's mind that happened was she was missing 2 of her outdoor green cushions. When we got there the next day, she goes, I can't find them, and they were expensive. And I looked, and I found one under like one chair pillow, and the other one is still missing. So I'm like, well, I'll replace it if I have to.
She's like, well, I already called Walmart, and they don't sell them anymore. They don't even have that color anymore. So I might even have to get a red one, which is gonna look dumb.
It's gonna look
one
silly.
green and one red cushion. Come on over, guys, into my garbage yard.
Oh, we had the
with
best.
2 different colored cushions.
There was
Might as well
one
get a
point-
fucking deep freeze filled with nothing.
You were really drunk. My groom Adam was really drunk, but my brother was
Oliver?
next. Oh, Oliver was so drunk, and it was hilarious. Like he was just.
He
being,
was Oliver Twist, wasn't he? Yeah,
my
he was
brother
fucked.
is so cute. Like he's like this giant guy, right? But he is like the
Mm-hmm.
biggest softy marshmallow, like sensitive. He did a speech, and Adam was audibly sobbing because my brother's all sweet and nice.
Yeah,
But
no.
my favorite part was when
He's a good salesman too.
he
Like
is
I would
a
buy.
good,
I
he
would
was
buy.
trying to sell so many trailers.
Oh fuck!
He was
I would
going up
trailers. I would buy tampons off of him. He's just one of those guys where he starts talking tampons and you're like, yeah, why don't I have?
Why
any
don't I have
tampons?
tampons? You're
I don't know
right.
if my wife uses these ones, but I'll get a box. Sure.
Oh
yeah,
my god.
you do grow a pussy when you talk to him.
But they
so
were like-
says Adam.
One of my bridesmaids, her partner or husband, it was like they had like, so I had like this like had photos of everybody for the guest book with those Instamax things, and then I'm like, just take pictures with the Instamax all night and like put them up there. And so her husband and then like their friend Tony, like my tattoo artist, they like have one of them kissing, and then apparently Nick yelled out, "Hey Oliver, come over here and kiss boys!" And my brother was like, "Huh?" What's happening?
I haven't. Why did I like hearing that?
I haven't kissed boys since junior hockey.
I love every straight guy's reaction to gay talk is like, why did that make me happier?
Why do I feel funny?
Mm-hmm.
Why did I start walking over before I could?
Yeah, why did my knees
caught
almost
myself.
buckle?
But this is like the best time to be able to do that. Like, I'm surprised we don't have more hockey players that are out. Honestly, I'm surprised we don't have, like, I'm sure there has to be some gay hockey players. Like, are we not ready for that yet still?
I don't know. Is there 2?
There's 2 that are out?
They're openly gay in the NHL.
Okay, that's, because I didn't know about it, but I thought I would hear more about it.
It's always like gay fringe, right? What we really need is like a gay superstar. Where he's just scoring like hat tricks every game.
Oh, I thought you meant like Liberace or something like that.
No. We need like, because it's always like, hi there, I'm in gay and I'm in the NHL.
Yeah.
And it's like, well.
Yeah, if Conor
you're a
McGregor was gay,
tweener.
that everyone would have heard
Oh,
about it.
if McDavid was gay?
I always call him
unbelievable.
Conor McGregor. I get them mixed up.
Yeah, they're
There's
both
2
rich.
Connors and they're both rich. No.
So then you stayed at you had a wedding. That was amazing.
Yeah.
It was weird. Like I don't go to weddings. I'm usually a funeral guy.
But I think that's why my wedding was so weird, because I don't go to weddings either. So I had none of, like, I don't know what you're supposed to do at a wedding. Like, my cousin that was helping, she was like, now you do this, now you do this. I'm like, I have to do that? Like, I really have to do that? I had to do the bouquet toss.
Oh,
And
yeah.
my sister, I let my nephew bring a friend so he wasn't the only kid at the party. And his friend was so cute, and he said, are you going to do the bouquet toss? Because I really want to catch the bouquet. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so cute. And I'm thinking, yeah, there's no single women at this wedding really that I can think of, so it'll be fine. And then I realized that both Lisa Baker and and Natasha Lynn Miles are there. And I said to him, I'm like, I'm going to throw you your own personal bouquet because one of those ladies will knock you down. Like, the two of them, and then Natasha caught the bouquet, and I thought Lisa was going to punch her out, and then Natasha's like, suck it, Baker! Like, it was amazing.
Holy shit.
And then the next day, I sent a picture of Natasha hugging the flowers. She goes, oh, that explains it. She's like, I just found out I'm allergic to flowers because her broke out and her whole face swelled up overnight.
Wow. And then I just walked up to her and said, half of all bouquet tosses end in divorce.
Is that what you said?
No.
Oh, you should have.
What did I say during your ceremony? Something like
I heard you say that's racist at some point. I don't know.
I must have been talking
I don't
nonsense.
Like, you were drunk. I love drunk Sean. No, I do.
Sean said a lot of things.
I don't remember saying anything.
Well, yeah.
Did I say a lot of things?
You were talking a lot. You were so...
Adam, did I really say a lot
Adam,
of things? I don't remember saying things.
Sean, you were like so social. You were going around hugging people. You were like...
I wasn't an
The
issue.
best was Sean kept coming up and being like, does anyone need a drink? Is anyone
Yeah,
hungry?
you
Just
were...
like with food and drinks?
Yeah, I'm
you
a
were
server
a
by
great
nature.
host at my
Yeah.
wedding. I appreciated it.
Yeah, I'm like a co-host.
You
That's
were
what
a
I do.
co-host. You were
guys
my
need a
wedding
drink? You need
co-host
a
and my
mimosa?
podcast co-host.
I was drinking. That's the thing about I don't drink, right, ever.
Yeah. So
but
when
there's
you
something
do
about
drink-
beverages on ice. Like I see a bunch of beverages
It was a nice
in
setup,
ice.
right?
I'm like,
It was.
fuck, I gotta
Adam did a
drink one of
great
those
job with the
beverages that's
bar.
on ice. So I get suckered into being drunk because I'm like, why did I go for this
Yeah.
drink? I just like ice, but there's no ice in it. It's on the
No,
outside.
It's booze though. But I think
did
that's
I-
like when booze is like there and it's like just for the taking. That's just like
Mhm.
fucking do this. And we
Yeah.
had like a good thing going. Like we just said, we didn't have a bartender. We were just like, donate if you want to, if you can, it doesn't matter. And also we found out just before we bought our booze, we could use our air miles at Sobeys Liquor. So we got like $215 worth of booze for free.
That
Thank
is
you, Air
not
Miles.
bad.
Thank you. Air
And I'm one of
Miles.
those people too, where like when I don't know if you're like me, but it's like, if I'm drunk at night, I'm gonna turn into a dying cat at some point.
Yeah.
Where I have to like go somewhere else to die.
You disappeared for a while.
Yeah, I do. I'll do that. I'm a dying cat at parties.
I think
where,
someone
like,
found you
I'm-
sitting in the living room of
Adam
my
did.
aunt's house.
I was
Adam
sitting
found
in the living
you
room
sitting
petting a cat
petting a There was
because
a
I had to
cat?
get the fuck out of there.
They
Like,
don't have a cat.
or some animal.
A dog.
Some
Or
animal.
their small dog.
Yeah,
They have a
whatever
little-
it was, I tore it limb from limb. No, like I did. I remember just being in the living room, and I just had to. It started to spin. Right. I'm like, oh, I don't
yeah.
feel very good.
You don't want to be the puker, the only puker at the party.
Because I think I might have some organ problem, some kind of organ, not
Like
failure,
livers?
not failure, but just like enough to be like, hey, you can't do that.
Like a liver issue or
Something like that. Liver, brain, some kind of liver brain connection.
yeah.
Because I get to about the 6th drink mark, and then everything starts spinning, and I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
And then I have to like go somewhere else for 45 minutes and then come back like nothing happened. But I'm usually wetter, so everybody's like, everything okay?
Because you were sweating or
No, because I'll wet my hair down, that kind of thing, right? I'll get my hair wet, and I'll get a bunch on my sweater. And then people are kind of like, why is he wet?
Yeah.
Are you okay? Like, and then I'm like, what are you fucking... Well, why wouldn't I be okay just because I'm soaked?
Yeah, just because I jumped into a lake before.
Yeah, just because I was gone for an hour and now I'm wet.
Weddings are fun though.
What's with all these questions?
This is why I really, really want to buy a house with a big backyard. Because I'm not kidding. I'm gonna have a party every weekend. It feels like I would do like Adam and I just want to have parties. That's why we want to buy a house. We just,
Yeah, you guys are good hosts.
We had it was
Because
so
you're the
much
drunkest,
fun.
right? So you're like the Connor McDavid of the
I
party.
wasn't even that drunk. I paced myself. I was so proud with how I paced myself. Like
Yeah.
I mostly ate the cake, which was a weed cake, which was fucking.
It is
Thank
like,
you,
let's be
Northern
honest.
Queen, sponsors of the Dead Baby Bear podcast, for my beautiful THC wedding cake
That's crazy.
that
How
High
many-
Times magazine reposted.
Really? It might, because for some reason I thought like, oh, this must happen quite a lot. There must be a lot of weed cakes at parties and wedding.
I think
and
that's
then,
relatively
And then it was
new.
like, obviously not.
Yeah.
Like I was like, wow, that's crazy. That
few
High Times was
people-
like, oh wow, yeah, that's cool.
Like a few people have commented, oh, we had a dab bus. Like they had a weed and dab bus where you go on a bus and hot box. And then a few
That's
people
not
said,
the
yeah,
same,
we had
not
that.
the same.
We had a weed cake. But then you always have the people like, well, how much was in it? And who just, I bet you it tasted like shit. I'm like, for the record, it tasted amazing. Megan did an amazing job of explaining to people. I think my aunt that owns the house ate a little bit. I think she ate like a
Oh, really? A
tiniest
sliver?
little bit. But like, I think it's great. I think, like, honestly, I just want more people to start eating weed and stop drinking. You know what I mean? Like, it's so much more better for you just to eat some weed. And
Yeah.
nobody overdid it. Nobody was like, well, that I know of, went out of their mind crazy hopped up on weed cake. But
Yeah, it's one of those things where you don't feel like patient zero on edibles, right? It's
Yeah.
not like, it's like this has been happening for thousands of years, people eating this shit, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like we're going to wake up one day and be like, sorry, you got cancer everywhere. It's probably from those candies you done ate 28 years ago. It's not like vaping where they're going to be like, oh, there's old Popcorn lung with his jewels.
popcorn lung.
You could christen a fucking boat with his
Is that
lungs.
what your lungs look like now, popcorn?
I think so. I think
'Cause
they
they
look like
bubble
little
up?
balloons or whatever. That was the other thing you had at your wedding was an inflatable dude.
Oh, yeah, my wacky, wavy, inflatable guy. That was like,
Where did you get it from? Is there like
From
a
the special-
rental
the
store
rent
called
store.
Stupid? Because it's all just car dealerships and your wedding. That's
yeah,
it.
I know, right? We rented it at mattress stores.
And Matt, what is up with? Why do they both get into that game? Like, imagine being
Because,
like
as you said, during the wedding, it was fun to watch people be like
It
kids
was.
again. Those things
they were
attract
chill.
people.
You could turn people into children.
Those
I've never
things
seen
attract people.
like there was a bunch of people in there that were like, how am I going to pay that off on my taxes? Like, can I claim that? And they're thinking their own dumb, weird, deep.
They're not
adult
paying
thoughts.
attention to the wedding at
And
all.
then they see like air trapped inside of fabric, and they're like, "Wow!" like all of the 30 years melted off their face. They were just like, "I do taxes? I'm 4."
And
It was
I
pretty
got
fun.
surprised by my own surprise because like that was my idea, and then like it was supposed to be behind us, like where we got married. It was supposed to be right there. And I was walking down the aisle and I didn't see it, and I was like, oh, it didn't make it, or something happened. I'm like, God damn it. And so I thought it wasn't there, and then we kissed, and Nick was my friend who was supposed to do it, and he did it right at the exact moment, and it popped up, and you can even hear me in the few videos that we have that was just like, ah! Like, I was so surprised by it. I was like, it's here!
Yeah, and there would have been a couple people there that were like, "Is she this fucking stupid?"
No,
like,
no,
like
no,
2 or
nobody
3
thought.
other guys.
Everybody at that wedding knew exactly what they were getting, coming to a Kathleen McGee and Adam Lampman
But what
wedding.
I'm saying is, like, the people that knew there was an inflatable thing there and knew that it was your idea,
Yeah.
and then saw how surprised you were there not a couple people that
Oh,
were like,
yeah.
"Is she fucking this dense?"
We'd
Like,
have
the
to
thing
ask
that was
Nick.
her idea, and she's like, "Wow!" She's the most freaked by it.
Whoa!
Her idea, most freaked.
I looked like Hillary Clinton when the balloons were falling. I'm like,
That
whoa!
fucking bitch. She eats babies.
She eats babies.
That baby eating bitch. So what's happening this week in COVID? Anything fun?
Well, I've heard rumors that everything's getting shut down again, including like comedy clubs. So here we go. We have a show in 2 weeks, so let's see if that'll happen.
That's not happening.
We'll see.
We're basically, it's like, hey, it's like, think about a year and a half ago, and you were like, hey, do you mind if we still come in from Wuhan? And
Yeah,
like, we're Wuhan right now.
we are.
We are fucking Wuhan
Because
1
we had
year
to have
ago.
a
Alberta.
Calgary Stampede, and we had to prove something to.
Don't blame them, Kathleen. Blame
I
Jesus
will.
for giving us all COVID.
I do blame Jesus for everything, but no, I think that we're gonna have another shutdown. And honestly, I wouldn't be sad.
No?
I kind of like enjoyed at wintertime just being like, I'm just gonna stay in my house, keep warm, watch some movies.
but now it's balcony pandemic.
Yeah, we're moving out of the house. We're not gonna have a backyard. But even in the winter, I didn't need a backyard.
A lot of people don't do that. They don't get married and then downsize immediately.
I know, immediately. The week after we get married, we are now packing and moving. Like,
But you guys are
what
going to be in a
idiots are
big
we?
house soon. I'm sure you are.
Well, we did get enough to start a down payment fund, not for a down payment. We're starting a down payment fund,
Yeah.
and it's
It'll
gonna
be fine.
happen. I've already been like looking at houses. I found one with a pool already. I'm like, oh, can you put that on hold for 3 years?
Get a
This one on
fucking
Railway.
Can I put this one on
get
later?
get a wealthy relative to Get a wealthy relative to gift you a little money early.
Oh yeah. Hey, wealthy relatives of Kathleen, can I have something?
Wealthy relatives, unite
I have
and service me.
And service me. I'm gonna smoke.
Reasonably comfortable relatives, unite.
I think most of my relatives are pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
That wedding was fun. God damn, that wedding was fun.
Yeah, you guys know how to throw a party. Because like I said, you guys are the Connor McDavid, right? You have to practice as hard as Connor McDavid practices, right? You know, and you guys are drunk. You're shit-faced. You're loaded.
Adam was shit-faced. He was so drunk during our speeches. He was heckling. It was so rude.
Yeah, you can do that at your own wedding. Especially when you're cooking. It's like, I made all this food, you fucking losers. Even if people were like, Adam, stop it. Like, then don't eat anything because I fucking made all that.
Yeah. I didn't get any out of that one. No, you did a lot of heart. He made those little charcuterie boxes.
I could tell those carrots weren't day of. Patooey. No,
we have
really
so
good.
much leftover food, too.
What do you do with wedding leftover food? Fuck.
Give it away. We gave a lot away. We had those bombies.
Who do you give it away to?
Your friends that are there.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you took it to like a fucking, food shelter or some shit. Soup kitchen. That'd be a weird soup kitchen. What the fuck is this?
We tried to donate stuff, but somebody's like, it's COVID, they don't take anything right now. I'm like, really?
This isn't honey ham.
Food?
Bro, they haven't had anything that wasn't honey ham or Black Forest in the last 30 years.
This dick is
so that meat to them was like, what is this, deer face? What was that meat anyway?
We had hot dogs, hamburgers, we had bombies that were so fucking... Did you have a bombie?
What is that?
The sandwiches?
Oh yeah, I did have I think I was calling it a bon ami.
I think you were.
I was like, is that a bon ami or whatever? And then and then I saw a Filipino making it, and I'm like, well, bon ami. Do they talk French
Nick.
there? Or?
I think
Vietnamese.
Nick is Vietnamese.
But Adam's racist. And what I said.
You said I saw
racist.
a Filipino making them.
But no, and then I was like, oh, they're not bon amis when I saw the Filipino making them. Because then I thought,
Vietnamese.
Or whatever. He was a Vietnamese person.
Just keep digging yourself into that old white man racist soul. I'm kidding.
How do I get to be, I just misraced somebody? Is that?
Yeah, you just misraced somebody.
Oh my God, is misracing?
Why don't you go misgender an animal, bro?
Misgender an animal?
Yeah. You've done that. You do that.
I have done that a lot. That is my go-to.
That's your favorite thing to do, misgendering animals.
So he was Vietnamese. Okay, now I get it.
Bami Cali.
Anyways, I was calling it bon amis.
Bon ami Cali.
This is good.
Except we ordered them without jalapenos.
I think I had wet hair by
and he
then.
left them on. I think he did that because he's like, I think he wanted us to feel that heat. But fuck, they were good. And then the next night, we were over at my friend Nick and Alyssa's house because it was Alyssa's birthday. She was one of the bridesmaids. And they were having a fire in their backyard. And we gave him a whole pan of them because we had like 3 pans left over of sandwiches. I'm like, well, we'll take some, but you guys have to take some too. And he was roasting them. He was putting them on a hot dog roaster. And, he figured out a way to make them, not fall apart. And he, was toasting them in the fire. Oh, and they were so good.
I always think it's, a cool trick when somebody knows how to, cook with fire well.
Yeah, straight on a fire.
Let's put this fish on here. And I'm like, you can't just... You're going to throw a fish on a fire?
The hardest part about cooking on a fire is you can't... It's hard to regulate heat if you're not good at it. I'm
not good at it.
I used to have to cook on a fire when I worked at Fort Edmonton Park.
Holy shit, everything comes back to this dump.
I make bread in a
I swear to God,
oven.
you don't remember anything else in your life for some reason. Every other part of your childhood, you're like, I don't remember. I just know there was a lot of guys in the room anyway. And then all of a sudden you're at Fort Edmonton Park and every single fucking thing
every
sticks.
detail. I had to bake bread in a clay oven, and I'd always singe my eyelashes off because you had to lean in.
I should ask you more things about old timey worlds.
Sure.
What did girls use for menstruation?
Moss.
Moss.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, welcome to
boy.
womanhood. Ooh. There wasn't they didn't have diva cups that you could pick off of trees. What do you think? I think
that would be a pretty cool tree.
Spagma moss or something. I think that's what it's called.
Wow.
No, they used moss for that and for diapers as well.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that was when I...
They weren't free shitting back then?
I'm sure I'm talking about babies.
They could shit, they probably used, because we've really made the world into this place where there's only certain places you can shit appropriately.
You think in the olden days they shit
The olden days
more
there was
freely?
many more places that you could shit freely.
I highly doubt that. I feel like even back then they knew that you can get sick from poop being everywhere. I think in
Yeah.
England they weren't, but I'm pretty sure that native people would like, didn't have toilets, but they would only shit in one spot because they were very smart. Like, not in jolly old England where they would
Like
throw
those
it.
stupid English.
Well,
No,
seriously,
the
throw
dumb
it out their
English.
windows into the streets. That's what they did. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know for sure. But
You
like,
just
with,
saw that in a fucking Disney movie.
I'm a time traveler.
And you're
Sean,
right
you not
too.
know?
You're right. It's always like, and then the Industrial Revolution came, and then you see
They're
like a
throwing
mill
shit
being
out the
built and
windows.
somebody throwing a bucket of dung out the fucking window onto the street.
Ooh, the
All,
industrial-
never from the main floor either. Never a main level shit dump. It's always uppercase. It's always off the top. Maximum shit splash.
That's why if you
For all
were
your neighbors.
a gentleman, you would never let a lady walk on the inside. You'd always make sure they're walking on the outside, or maybe it's the other way. Whichever way the shit would fall closer to.
Yeah.
You didn't want a lady
Can
to
either
get.
protect it from shit or traffic. Not
Yeah.
I think it should always
Yeah,
be
you're
like
right.
whoever the better looking one is. Who's the best looking person in this relationship? Keep them to
That's
the
the one
shit
who should
side.
not be
Yeah.
covered in shit.
Yeah, no, I think the good looking one should be the one that's taking shit.
Yeah.
Potentially, because they can afford to lose.
Yeah, they
those-
can infuse to knock a few looks.
They can, yeah, they
points
can
down.
lose a point or two
Yeah.
and still be like, he's kind of cute and covered
Oh,
in
if an
shit.
ugly person gets shit all over them, that is
Oh.
just their worst day ever.
No, like imagine me covered in shit.
Shut up.
You'd be like, what the fuck? I'd rather just see shit. Why is
Why
he wet
is he
again?
wet?
He's
Yeah.
always wet.
Why is he wet? But it's shit wet.
And this time it's all downstairs. It's downstairs moisture. Oh, I filled up my moss undies.
That's true. That's what they use. They would have like babies in like pupusas where they would like, you like swaddle babies when they're newborns. You're a dad. You should know that.
You think if I went back in time, I'd be like an okay doctor in the 18th century?
Like you could go with all the knowledge that you currently have
Like,
at
isn't
this
it funny
point.
how when we talk about let's go back in time, we never say like I would like.
You would want to be a doctor?
Well, I would go back with all the drugs. I'd be like, I got it, guys.
Oh.
They'd be like, we don't put mint on that anymore. Here you go. And then I would just give them all needles. They'd be like, and then
Penicillin?
get better. And I'd be fucking Jesus,
They'd think
dude.
you were Jesus.
I would be Jesus if I went back.
They would think you were Jesus. Maybe Jesus is really just a time traveler.
Time traveling doctor.
Let's be honest. I
Yeah,
bet you Jesus
maybe he's a
isn't even like a
time-traveling
god.
doctor.
He's probably a time traveling doctor.
It's like I go back and kill Hitler. Why wouldn't you just go back with a ton of drugs? Get the biggest time, rent the biggest time machine they have at Enterprise, fill it with insulin and other life-saving concoctions and some needles. You don't need clean ones. Get one. Just take one back.
Everybody says that they go back in time. This is the thing, a problem I have with time traveling. They always say when you go back, if you do anything, you'll destroy. So if someone goes back and like picks a flower, you'll wreck the future. So you're not gonna be able to have any fun if you're a time traveler. You just have to go and stand there and not touch anything.
I would go forward 500 years and I like just walk up to the mayor of that town and be like, watch out for Adolf Hitler. And then I would like go back in my machine and then I'd come back an hour later and be like, sorry, I went the wrong way. And then I wouldn't even go back in time and tell them. I would just do it for the joke about the future.
They'd be like, we haven't thought about Hitler for 500
Remember
years.
that guy?
started coming
Remember
back
that
in.
man ruined the main road with his machine that fell from the sky and he told us to beware of Adolf Hitler?
Yeah, what would happen if Hitler's name started
And they'd
getting
be like,
popular
we
again?
already know about Adolf Hitler.
But what
There's
if
another
we
one coming.
What if in the future they kind of forget about how shitty he was and the name Hitler comes back in fashion? So you go back in,
Yeah,
you go
it's
ahead
like
in
bell
time,
bottoms, right?
and everybody's a Hitler.
But he said Hitler.
This is Mr.
You're like, oh my God, Hitler's back.
Mr. and Dr. Hitler, because the lady's the doctor.
Oh, I don't know. Even in the future, I don't know.
That was her wife.
I don't know.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, because
Oh,
I
my
haven't been.
God.
I had not been to a wedding in a while, so I was trashed.
You were. It was fun though. Like you weren't like, and nobody was out of control, trash.
I don't think so.
Everyone was just having the best time
I do
ever.
not. I don't like that. I don't like it. The next day when I wake up and I'm like, I
What
don't
did I
remember. I don't
do?
remember a lot of that. I
But
don't
you
remember
didn't
a
do
lot of
anything
that.
bad. You were hilarious. And like,
No, but there's always like, that's what people say. They're like, oh no, you're fine. But there's always like one person who's like, yeah, he got me over by the fence and told me my pants made me look like a fucking loser. You know what I mean? Like most people are like, oh, you were fine. But there's one person whose opinion of me has changed
Was
forever.
upset.
Like somebody just walked over to the fence and went, shh. And I was like, I've been to your house and your fence is fucking terrible.
they weren't
It's all
there.
crooked and there's too much spacing on the one side.
I invited them and those people, and then they couldn't, and then I had to disinvite people because of this whole COVID shit. But then like at like 2:00, I was like, I should just text all these people and tell them to come, because like it wasn't even that, like there were people there, but it was so spaced out.
Yeah.
That we could have had more people in that backyard.
It was a crazy yard.
Yeah. Oh God, it was a fucking fun time.
And we're too old for that shit now.
No, I know.
To be partying like that. Like how many months will it take for you to recover fully from that?
Couple, 2.
Yeah.
Financially and physically.
Yeah.
It'll take a while.
That's a weird break-even party.
And you know Kurt Metzger, right?
Oh yeah, I know Kurt Metzger.
Okay, so Kyle Dunnigan, you'd know Kyle Dunnigan. He's like he should be more famous, is all I'm saying. He's so fucking funny. Mm-hmm. But he started this new he did this like video with Kurt Metzger. It's called See Pussies Live, and it's like these two men who have like a feminist podcast, and they're like crusaders for women, and they tell this whole story about like this little boy, and I'm gonna ruin this. You gotta go watch it. Go find Kyle. Just go look up Kyle Dunnigan's Instagram. It's the first one on there. It's Kurt Metzger, but it's so funny. It's all about, they do this like gender story that's like, well, do I have a pee-pee or a wee-wee or possibly a doo-doo? Like they just like totally like do a very funny spoof about gender, which is hard to do. Like I'm sure some people will be offended by it, but it's actually really funny and really like really smart. I should have told you to watch it before we started this podcast. We should just pause this so that you guys can watch it.
And what happened? Norm Macdonald died,
Norm
right?
Macdonald died. That was sad.
Yeah, that's not good.
I think the thing that was so cool about Norm Macdonald is that there literally was nobody, like you didn't watch him and think, oh, he was inspired by this comedian. He was just him, literally, he had his own style, and like, do you think he was like inspired by, I can't think of another comic that was like him before him.
No, he was, what made him funny was that he was kind of crazy.
He was kind of crazy.
You know, like he was willing to just like almost autistic, I don't know, there was some weird. Like he was great. He was amazing. But there was something off about him that made like that's why you can go. Well, he had
this like no fear about anything.
Well, that's why you can go into like a Norm Macdonald like rabbit hole of watching his videos and shit, because every time he was on, he was taking chances all the time. Yeah. He was always doing something bizarre and off the wall that other people just wouldn't do.
Right? I saw somebody post that he would, if he bombed at a show, he would make a point of going and standing at the exit and thanking people and like shaking their hands if he bombed. Like
yeah, like after I die, there might be like 18 comedians that are like, you guys should check him out, and then they'll go and like see like a fucking like 3 minutes of a comedy now, and be like, why did Kathleen tell me to look up this fucking
Why were there so many tributes to this guy?
But yeah, like this guy just wearing the same shirt for fucking 83 years.
I think people love writing tributes, so I think you'll get at least a few. Like, even if people didn't really like you, they'll still be like, oh, I knew the person that died.
And they do leave you alone, right? There's a grace period, even for pedophiles, I believe. Like, even when a pedophile dies.
There's a grace period?
There is a period where you're not supposed to shit on their tributes.
Oh, you're like, well, they weren't that bad.
Yeah, you gotta, like, leave it for an hour. You gotta let the tributes flow for an hour. And they're usually shitty tributes. Like, pedophile tributes are the worst.
Who wouldn't give a tribute to him? Do you think when Bill Cosby dies, I'm sure people will.
Oh yeah, they'll be like.
But what about like? I think that Harvey Weinstein. I think we talked about this before, but I think he's like fully done. Like I don't know how many people are gonna do a tribute to Harvey Weinstein when he dies. Bill Cosby still has a few people in his corner, but I don't think Harvey Weinstein has anyone in his corner.
Just there's always a couple. His kitty cats, they don't judge.
His kitty cats are going to send out on Facebook, oh, here's a picture of me and Barbie. That's my favorite, is when people post pictures of the person that died when they're, see, I met them once. Like, that's my favorite. So I think we'll do that.
Yeah.
But.
So have you done any comedy shows lately?
The last one I did was in Calgary. I opened for Lisa Baker, and it was fun. She brings people out. Oh, my God. It's so weird when, like, you're like, holy shit, people are actually... Because that never happens to Canadians. Like, nobody's ever... Like, if someone comes there to see me, it's like 1 or 2 people. But there was a whole bunch of people there to see Lisa. And I'm like, that's so fucking cool.
Well, and comedians are really good at, like, mistaking normal, give it up for your headliner noise for, like, fan noise.
No, but I'm not mistaking...
No, I'm not saying in this case. Okay. I'm saying, like, not in her case. Yeah. But most headliners, like... they hear
they're
like
here
an
to
extra
see me.
woo, and they're
Yeah.
like, that's for me probably.
This is probably their 8th
They
time
wouldn't
seeing
have
me.
done that if they were here next week for the other headliner that nobody knows. But yeah, like no, I opened for at Yuck Yucks, and yeah, there was like a good section of people that were like, yep, that's why we're here. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. That'd be nice if that would happen to more people in this comedy community.
Maybe your wedding could launch you.
I've been getting more press for my wedding than I have ever in my entire comedy career. Even when I released my album, I got nothing. And this one, like, the cake was on High Times Magazine, Instagram. Because I just put it on Reddit and, like...
Well, now you need to do, like, a comedy album that's, like, about your wedding.
Yeah, I should. Adam and Kathleen's wedding, like Tony and Tina's wedding, except for there's more drugs than alcohol.
There was more drugs
There
than
was
alcohol.
so much. None of my family listens. There was so many drugs at that wedding. I was like, wow, you guys, like, just free flowing. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
And there's like 80-year-olds there, right?
My
There's
grandma
like an
was the oldest
80-year-old.
one there. She was 93.
Unbelievable. Yeah, she's 93.
Yeah.
And people are like, can I do Molly off one of the arms of your chair?
Yeah.
Well, that arm doesn't lift so good no more. Okay, up she goes.
Oh my god, my grandma was so cute. I looked over at her one point, and Eugene was sitting on her lap, and she's just feeding him an entire bag of cheesies. And anyone else, I would have been like, please don't feed my dog. But it was just my grandma, like, and Eugene's like, it was so cute.
Oh, yeah.
It was so cute.
You got to let some things ride.
Oh, yeah. Well, my aunt and uncle took the dogs home that night, and I was like, I would advise putting their beds in a bathroom and letting them sleep in there, because Dottie has a sensitive stomach, and I swear, I'm sure she got fed food all night, but then they said they were fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, the dogs were in the wedding. It was cute. Eugene snapped at my nephew and almost bit him during the ceremony.
Yeah. I saw that, and I was like, did he nip at him, or was that a full bite?
I don't think he got bit. I think he just nipped at him. But
How bad, like, I mean, because I was sitting there thinking, like, well, this is one of those times where even if he was, like, bleeding, people might not
like,
stop.
Shh, quiet.
They're like, stop your fucking hand bleeding,
Hold
young
your...
man.
Put some pressure on it. Shut the fuck up. Put
Yeah.
some pressure on it.
Yeah, the nuptials are happening.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I don't remember a second of the ceremony, though. It just went by... It really super goes by fast. Everyone's like, it'll go by really fast. All these things that people tell you, they are all true. Like, people tell you, you will be so tired. And I don't think I've ever felt more exhausted than I did on Sunday afternoon, because we had to get up and, like, take back all the stereo equipment and then all the rental stuff we had to take back and take his
And then
parents
you
to
had,
the
like,
airport.
like a wedding manager, right?
No, not at this one. We're having another wedding, Sean.
But who was the
party.
person that was the aficionado?
She
or
was
what
just the
were they?
officiant. The
Aficionado?
aficionado.
Wedding aficionado?
She was just the officiant. She just got us married and left.
Yeah.
She was
it's like-
really fun.
And she's gonna get us our
And
marriage.
she's going to get us our marriage license. That's true, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because we're going to get a license. Because you got to have a license to get married, I guess.
Oh,
Passport.
A marriage
oh,
passport.
that'd be so great if you have marriage passport.
Yeah, so you can't come
I
in here.
will
You're
never.
not married.
I'm not double marriage vaccinated.
Now, now I can go into
I
the
worry about.
married people's room at the Swingers Club.
I'm gonna have to go. There's a lot of vaccine shedding at this party. Oh, I can't handle all this vaccine shed. You guys are scared sheep. Anyways, I'm gonna be over here contemplating something that's totally imaginary.
Oh, we've had the vaccine not passport for the last, like, I've only had a couple shifts with it. And I've only had, like, one person that I'm like, you're an idiot. You can't, like, fuck you. And then I've heard people are, like, making fake ones because it is
Yeah, of
very
course.
easy to make a fake one. And I'm just like, you're a special kind of dickhead. Like,
It's kind of fun though, to, like, show it, like, you know, because you miss that feeling of, like,
privilege?
showing somebody like a fake ID. Remember getting into a bar with a
Yeah.
fake ID?
yeah.
That's what it's got to feel like for an unvaccinated person to get in with a fake, and they're like, haha, I'm among you.
I kind of love the vaccine passport because it doesn't matter what sex, what gender, what sexual preference, what race, anything. You can feel superior to someone else because you have it. It doesn't matter who you are. We're all in this together. The ones with the passports, we all feel superior to the ones, and they still feel superior because we haven't poisoned our bodies. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Some of us like smiles. I'm pro smile. I'm pro smile, and I hate vaccine sheds. Yeah, those people.
What is
The
vaccine
spirit,
shedding?
the
Like you
spirit
sweat it
mom,
out?
the angel moms. You know,
Oh.
they're coming at it from so many angles, right? It's like, it's just a free for all. It's a grab bag. Like the conspiracy thing is just like
horrifying.
it's just a grab. Like, 'cause I still know guys that it's like, okay, you're not gonna. be able to go to the rink or and they're like, no, like they're all the way down there, right? Because to not get it now, you've got to be real deep.
Yeah, and because even after they said like with the vaccine passports,
you got to be Clinton baby deep.
Oh, you have to believe that shit.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, they said that a lot of people are now, because the passports are all coming out, that a lot more people are applying for exemptions, and not very many people are getting them, which is exactly what anybody that says that they're allergic to, I can't do it because of a medical exemption, and then you will just be quiet about that because you'll have an exemption card.
Yeah, you know what's funny is there was this lady that walked into a Tim Hortons Esso thing.
Yeah.
I was getting my morning coffee, and there was like supposed to be maximum 5 people in there.
Yeah.
And there was other people lined up on the street, like waiting to get inside. There was like 2 or 3 people outside the building, and she just walked in, like out of her car without a mask on, and then the Esso lady, God bless this fucking poor little woman that had to like police
that's making minimum
a fucking
wage.
Esso, and that's what pisses me off.
Yeah. Is
these businesses have to decide, like, do we hire a security guard or do we limit the number of people who can enter here and make the life of our employee a living fucking hell?
Yeah.
Because now it's an Esso that's Tim Hortons, and so they're all there for Tim Hortons, but the Tim Hortons person is just making fucking coffee and grabbing donuts.
Yeah, they don't care.
The Esso person is now a security guard at a Tim Hortons.
Oh my God.
Inside of an Esso, who's like, excuse me. So this lady just walks in, maskless and everything.
Yeah.
And the Esso lady was like, excuse me, and then she's like, I'm exempt. And then just like stood in line.
Exempt from
Yeah,
lines?
and I'm like, you're exempt. You're exempt
Did you
from
say
all
something?
of it. Yeah, I was like,
good.
I was like, are you exempt? You're what? You're exempt from everything? You're exempt from all of it.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't have to wear a mask. I'm like, but you're exempt from that lineup? Like you're exempt from having to respect how many people are allowed in here? Like you're you're just exempt. And she's like, oh, whatever.
Oh, people need to start calling these assholes out and embarrassing them in public.
And then she went on Facebook like, I did it again. I went out there and I showed people my fucking teeth.
I'm showing those people that I'm a pure blood. Which is funny because I love how most people are being like, so you're inbred?
Oh yeah, that's what they're calling themselves too, right?
Pure
bloods or whatever. Holy
oh my
fuck.
God, like what kind of Harry Potter fucking world are we living in right now?
I heard that you can't get insurance now if you got the thing.
They're vaccine wizards and we're all vaccine muggles.
Oh my God. What's that?
Oh yeah, Adam's work. You have to be vaccinated to work there. People will leave a job where they're making amazing money. That's how far and deep they're in these conspiracies.
Yeah.
I've heard people say, well, how dare they? And like, how am I supposed to feed my family? I'm like, get the vaccine and be a fucking adult and feed your family. Like so now you're making your kids like not play hockey this year because they can't afford it because you don't want to take a dumb vaccine. Like, get over yourselves, people. Like, get over yourselves.
You can't make me do. It's about personal freedom, McGee. Personal freedom, something you know nothing about.
I don't. And I love how everyone will just call you a communist. And then I'm like, if you're hip on communism, it's actually not awful.
It's kind of fun. It looks fun when it's done right.
Listen, if the best, nicest dictator in the world was in charge of communism, it would be great. I'd have all the unvaccinated people put into camps.
The world can't be a wedding, right?
We should start putting the unvaccinated.
If the world was a wedding where it's just like one day we get fucked up and the next day we clean up and then we get fucked up and then we clean up. That's the kind of dictator you'd be.
I would be. It'd be a party all the time.
Yeah.
Should we start putting the unvaccinated in camps?
Well, that'll be the next thing. And then you guys will still say, oh, we're doing it for the right reasons.
But not like...
When will you awaken?
Not death camps, just like camps where they can like eat craft dinner and live their hillbilly lives, but just away from us. I don't want to kill people. No. I just don't want them around me.
Yeah, it's just kind of like they're kids, right?
I'll let COVID kill them. I don't need to kill them.
Like, I know children that are like, I'm People's Party of Canada.
No.
Or something. It's like, you're a child.
Oh.
Here's the natural cycle of, like, a voter.
Yeah.
Is you're young, you're idealistic, you are pro-environment, you don't really care about corporate concerns, and then you start making $80,000 a year, and 30 gets shelled out, and you're like, how the fuck you become a conservative? Most of your working life, like, you'll secretly vote conservative, but you're, like, liberal-leaning. And then you get old and you need a handrail in your bathroom and you're back to voting liberal again.
Yeah.
So it's like the life cycle of that voter is like, I'm just voting. But Alberta's filled with people that are just like so dead, like their whole lives.
And they're out and proud about it.
You're not supposed to be a conservative your whole life. You shouldn't be a liberal your whole life either. That's weird. You're supposed to switch up allegiances a little bit.
A little bit.
You should be like a weird shade of it, like you shouldn't be the same thing all your life.
Depending on how much money you're making is where you should be like lying in your political beliefs. As soon as you need
handrails, you're back to liberal. Don't fucking be like I know so many fucking like seniors that'll vote like People's Party of Canada or Kenny, and it's like, dude, do you know how much fucking help you're gonna need getting around in 3 years? And you're voting for these fucking... Are you insane?
Do you think maybe they're just fucking with us and leaving us because they're like, I'm gonna die soon. Let's leave them with this shit for these little ungrateful children. My grandchildren don't come visit me ever. I'm gonna go vote in some shitty ass party and they have to deal with it.
Well, and it's funny too because what'll happen is, and it's, probably won't happen, but old people that are like us or older are like, well, when these kids are in charge, they're so fucking lazy and dumb. They're not gonna make any money, and then the kids will be like, yeah, maybe not. Like maybe we will make less money and do less damage to the environment. Like maybe we'll all like not make as much money and that'll be okay.
Greta Thunberg was lecturing adults again.
Yeah, nothing's gonna fucking go crazy if we all make less money. If there's less money,
I think
and
that's
less shit going into the sky.
That's why people like Greta Thunberg though, is because like she does say like these politicians are doing nothing, like they're just blah 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 blah, but they're doing nothing, and I'm like, she's not wrong. They have like these conferences and these summits, and the best thing that she said, I don't know if you saw it, she's basically like, they bring in like all of us children that they hand pick, and then they make it seem like they're doing something, and they're not doing anything.
And then they're like, okay, we need a new Greta.
We need
a new. She's too old.
Yeah.
She's an adult now.
Someone else gonna have to replace. When she turns 18, her effectiveness is over.
Yeah, you can't. You're a child environment actor. You know what I mean? Like that's what you are. You're a child actor. You can't be in the Nickelodeon show. You're 27, Rita. You can't be.
She'll be addicted to heroin.
Show. Nobody believes you're still in high school. Nobody thinks you open a locker every day. So we need a new Greta. She's got to be like 8.
Yeah, she'll be younger. The younger they are, the more. There'll be one that's 5 at one point that'll just be like, stop hurting Earth. And they'll be like, listen to this toddler. Listen to this toddler.
Listen to the little baby. His first word was stop hurting the Earth. He's the new environmental baby. Let's all bring him to conferences and then continue to spew shit out of stacks.
And there was an election in Canada since we've done a podcast, and Justin Trudeau is still Prime Minister.
That fucking son of a bitch!
It's fucking Trudeau!
He's ruined my life.
He's ruining all of our lives.
He's a traitor, don't you understand?
It's a minority government, though, so it's fine. I don't know. I was relieved. I was very worried that the Conservatives, because you know how it happens, like, you go, it goes left, right, all the time. I was a little worried.
Well, the thing that's happened in Canada is it used to be that it was like liberal, conservative, whatever, people would flip, but we're just as polarized as America now.
Oh, we are.
We are 100% as polarized as that country, and the effect of that is we have, generally speaking, more liberals, and now they despise conservatives.
Yeah.
And they will never vote for a conservative. So it doesn't matter that, like, hey, don't you see that Trudeau is blah, blah, blah. It's like, it doesn't matter because you are my enemy.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, the best thing that happened...
I'm not voting for my enemy.
The best thing that happened in this election was the People's Party, because they came along and split the Conservative vote. Because there was never another one that's like NDP and Liberal, they split each other's votes.
Yeah.
But they finally had somebody that took away some of the Conservative votes.
A little bit, yeah.
But they did. But also, I think it's cool that Canada is not that right-leaning, that we are way more... And people are like, well, Justin didn't win the popular vote. I'm like, I'm not talking about just the Liberals. I'm like, most people voted NDP or Liberal, and that makes me happy.
And, well, I mean, it's harder to unite Conservatives because we're more secular.
Yeah.
So usually they just go to taking Christ out of schools and Christmas and abortion, and, like, they go to the big heavy hitter Christian, and in America that works, that resonates.
But not here.
No. So the Conservatives don't really have like a Bible rallying cry that the Americans do, just a dog whistle for morons.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know, in Canada, yeah, it's harder to flip people. And now it used to be you could get like a center-left person to vote Conservative because they thought Trudeau was a goof.
Yeah.
And that will never happen again.
No.
Ever.
Well, and it was so funny. Everyone's like, well, Aaron O'Toole did a good job of kind of like taking away the far right stuff. I'm like, no, Aaron O'Toole's a tool. Like, he basically, he did not change any conservative thinkers into like not thinking in a bigoted way. Now, I'm not saying all of them are thinking that way, but like a lot of people are like, oh no, he made the conservatives look better. I'm like, no, he didn't. Like, he did not.
Who knows? Yeah. I mean, they're all soft. They're all, you know, they're all hard conservative policy wonks, right?
Yeah.
Like they want to make the numbers fit in the ledgers, and they'll tell people what they want to hear. Like,
and
so
everyone,
it's like Trudeau, right? It's
yeah.
like what do we want to do with the numbers, and then when the cameras are on, what do I say? Who gives a shit? Like,
and any conservative
tell them what they want to hear.
That messaged me because I posted that I'm happy that Canada is a more left-leaning country. They said, well, we're not all bigots. I'm not socially conservative. I'm fiscally conservative. I'm like, no, you're conservative. Like, don't just say that you're worried about money. You don't really like that we let people into this country to take your jobs. Like, don't act like that's a fiscal thing too. So like you can twist that into saying that you're fiscally, but like you don't want immigrants in here because they're ruining your jobs.
Well,
like
and even if it has nothing to do with immigration, it's still
like that's
well, what do you? Yeah, but like
part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, well, what do you think happens when conservative policies are enacted? Right?
Yeah.
Like there are less social services. There are like
Yeah.
So it has real human consequences. So like I'm fiscally conservative. I'm not socially like okay. So you're pro gay marriage, but you don't want poor people to have food.
Yeah.
So like that, and that makes you like I'm supposed to be less appalled by that.
Yeah, you're picking and choosing your social conservatism, and it's just like, it's not an all or nothing all the time, but I just find that to be the weirdest argument ever. Like, no, I'm all just about finance stuff. I'm like, okay, well, you're also making a lot of money.
Whatever wolf of fucking White Ave, the wolf of White Ave, he's fucking out there like, ow!
The wolf of Calgary Trail.
Yeah. I'm getting money out of people. These guys are dumb. So Eugene actually likes me. There's a thing.
Eugene
I think
really
he's one of those dogs where once he's puked on you, he's fine.
Yeah. Dottie's vomited on you too, but Eugene didn't puke on you. Dottie puked on you.
Dottie puked on me, yeah.
But Eugene witnessed it.
Oh yeah, he saw the whole fucking thing, and he did nothing. He didn't try to stop it.
I got a scratchy ticket because
okay, yeah, I guess we should get back on that.
Wild Winds, and it's got a bear on it. So I feel like this is our lucky day. Okay, that didn't work. I need like a... This is hard. It's not... Oh, there. This is hard.
That's the best. Like, I feel like this is our lucky day, and less than a second later. What the fuck?
I need a coin.
I like how I'm not even helping you.
Does anybody have coins?
Sorry, I can't upset Eugene.
Perfect.
All right, let's see. How much was this
Let's just find the barcode. This was just a $2 ticket.
It's fucked.
I know you like to be the big spender, but I mean,
if we ever won anything on that ticket,
you can win up to $20,000.
We could retire. We could retire on that money.
Yes, we could.
10 grand each. Bye.
Bye, everybody. See you later. 10 grand
That's
each.
my dream for quitting comedy. Is I'll book a bunch of shit with a bunch of agents that I hate, and then I'll go and
cancel last minute.
No. I will go to Grand Prairie.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, "Fuck you motherfuckers."
Yeah.
And then I'll shit all over the agent for like, I might be up there a minute, and then I'll leave. And then the contact will call the agent and be like, "They just went up there and said you were a piece of shit." And then they left.
And then you make an agent cry? Is that what's going to make you feel better?
And then the agent will be like, "Hey, what the fuck happened?" And I'll be like, nothing. And then I'll go and do the next show. I'll just do that for like a year.
Until they stop booking you?
Yeah. That's how I'm going out.
Is it too dark for this? Oh, wait, I can turn the flash on. Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh, heavens.
Oh, heavens to Betsy.
Ah.
Like a Mormon hearing a joke with pussy in it.
Oh, it's a non-winning ticket. Surprise, surprise. I'm just glad that we're back. I'm glad we didn't just, you know how like some things you just peter off and then Jim's like, "Did you guys want to tape again?" And we were like, "No, I'm kidding." I like doing this podcast. I do. Even if I quit stand-up, I would still do this podcast.
Yeah, I would still do it.
Because it's fun.
It is fun to sit here and fucking chat and look
Yeah.
at Dottie be all weird.
Just hanging out, sleeping. And we have, we're having I guess I shouldn't say that because that would be politically incorrect.
What?
I was gonna say we're
Find
having a
another way.
hobo dinner. We're making hot dogs over a fire, but I guess
Oh.
that's not to do that anymore. We're having because we packed all of our kitchen stuff. So
Oh, okay.
last night we had pizza. Tonight
Well, I'm
we're
glad
having
you
a
said
wiener
that
roast.
because that's worse than what I did with the Filipino thing.
That was funny. You did it like 3 times, and you did.
I honestly didn't even know what I was doing. I was like Vietnamese, like the language, like you're speaking Vietnamese. Like that's what I thought you were talking about. I didn't think you were talking about a Vietnamese person. I thought you were talking about the language. So I
Yeah,
was like,
I know.
okay, he was speaking Vietnamese. So what? Like, so what's wrong
So
with
this
it?
Filipino
Why
guy
can't a
was speaking
Filipino guy
Vietnamese.
speak Vietnamese? And you're like, no, he is Vietnamese.
He's a very smart Filipino man.
Oh, okay. All right, Grandpa.
Also-
let's get your nachos.
Go get. They don't officially sponsor us, but I would like Bommy Cali to sponsor us because fuck, those sandwiches were good.
They were good.
Damn, they were good.
I had a couple of those.
Damn, they were good.
All right. Well, thanks for being on your own podcast.
Thanks,
Kathleen.
And
You're married.
I'm not a virgin anymore.
Aw, did you consummate that evening?
In my butt? No, we didn't.
No.
No, we didn't. I passed out. Like I.
Oh, yeah,
Fell
no,
the fuck.
there's nothing.
I fell asleep lying down. Like I was like anyway. I like fell asleep and I hit the pillow and I was out.
Yeah.
But we had a great time.
Well, congratulations to you and Adam.
Thank you. Congratulations to you for your first time having a great time.
Oh, that was it.
First time ever.
Fucking
First time.
trashed.
First time ever having a great time.
All
Everyone
right.
had the best time. We're gonna roast wieners
Thanks,
now.
Jim. See you, Eugene.